This morning we're here at the Tallgrass Arts Gallery with artist Martin Stone from Tinley Park. And Martin is one of the artists that we have shown on Facebook and who's going to chit chat with us a little bit this morning, and he's participating in the art fair. Good morning, Martin. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good. Tell us a little bit about your work. Why don't you tell us how you got started in this?
Well, going back to high school, I loved art, but I didn't have the interest in recreating photographs, illustrations. Disliked several of my classmates because they could take a picture and reproduce it on the canvas or the paper, and I admired it because I was not able to do that, or I didn't have the discipline or the desire to do it. But I also didn't understand the value in reproducing something that was already there. Like, oh, here's a picture, and now I've done a drawing that looks just like a picture. That never made any sense to me. So I just, played around with designs and shapes and textures and what some would call doodling, and I found that I enjoyed it. It was stress relief. It was a way to relax and just enjoy myself. And someone once said that find something you would do for free, and if you can make that a living off of that, then you'll never be unhappy a day in your life. So that's kind of the pursuit. I tried starting a band in my early 20s. That didn't work out. And then in my 30s, I tried being an author, and I wrote 4 books, and had an agent in New York, and publishing houses said, they're really nice, but not what we're looking for, kid. So then I said, I'm gonna draw. So I went back to the drawing roots that I had learned in high school, and just started playing around with different shapes and concepts. And 9 times out of 10, I sit down in front of a blank piece of paper with my pens and my markers, and I stare until I see something. When I see it, I draw it. And sometimes it becomes a collage of different things, and sometimes it's just one image. Sometimes it's many images within one thing. I just don't really have a point or a goal with any piece other than I want to draw something, I want to create something that draws you in and makes you want to keep looking at it, and maybe, resonates with you somehow. Brings up a memory, brings up something you're into. A lot of people see the guitar piece and they're musicians or they're tattoo artists, and they connect with the different tight spaces and shapes, or just the fact that it's the shape of an instrument. And that's what I'm going for, that connection. You see something in what I've done, and you either see the same thing I see, or what's even more fascinating is when someone looks at it and sees something that I never saw. This one, I see a sort of cyborg type being, and I've had people look at it and say that they saw a beautiful African goddess, and I've seen other people that think that it's somebody in some sort of lycra suit for some sci-fi movie. So, and that's where I get the most enjoyment, where they look at it and they see something completely different than what I saw. That's the biggest thing.
I see. So, like, for example, when you said something within a picture, so if we look at this piece with the guitar, at the top, there's puzzle pieces I see.
Yeah.
And so, it looks like maybe towards the bottom left of it, maybe the planets?
Yeah.
Which also could be a Christmas ornament. That's what my mind would think. So, I get what you're saying. When you sit down to draw a piece, okay, do you, like with the guitar, let's say, did you have a guitar in mind thinking, this is what I'm gonna do today, what can I do with it?
This piece started out with, this is the second guitar piece I've done. The first one was the shape of a Les Paul, also an iconic guitar shape. Anyone who's ever picked up a guitar looks at it and knows that this is a Stratocaster. They look at the other piece and they say this is a Les Paul. So with this one, after doing the Les Paul, one of my more popular pieces gets the most conversations at art shows and art fairs, I decided to do a second one. And I decided that a Fender Stratocaster, equally iconic shape, would be how I started. And that is all I had planned when I sat down, was to draw a perfect ratio shape of the Stratocaster. And what a guitar player will notice right away is that this is a left-handed guitar. which is why this piece is called Lefty. But that's all I knew. So I sat down and I drew in the shapes for the knobs and the controls and the pickups for the Strat. The 3 pickups and the bridge, the 3 knobs and the little switch, and that's all I had. So then I drew a pick guard and just did spaces, did shapes here, did shapes there, then sat and stared at it. This piece probably took about 4 months and about 25 collective hours, just because a lot of that time is spent looking at it and going, okay, well, what should I put in that space? What should I put in that space?
Right.
And it just kind of comes together. The last part was actually the goldfish in the bridge pickup, the humbucker pickup down here. It's just a goldfish in a bowl. Makes absolutely no sense, but that's what I saw. So you have the kind of planet horizon here, and then the knobs are sort of planets orbiting that, and then you have a goldfish. So it's just like I said, this particular one was just shapes. I wanted to bring you in. I wanted to lead you around the page, and I want you to look at it as much as possible. Maybe put it on your wall and conversational piece when you have people over. And where'd you get that crazy guitar drum?
Okay, so to the person just looking at this, we see black and white, and we know you said you draw. What do you use to draw this? What kind of tools do you use?
Well, I have a lead holder that architects typically use. It's 2mm lead, because I find that it's all freehand with pens and ink, but I do start with a pencil to draw the shapes, the straight lines, the perfect circles. I'll use a compass or a ruler, and then I'll just kind of box out using the pencil different areas and ideas, or I'll even make notes right on the piece of paper. This I want spirals, this I want a planet, here I want a goldfish. And then I'll bring in the pen and start doing it. So aside from the pencil and an eraser, I just use Sakura micron pens of different sizes, India ink, predominantly black and white. I did have a little old lady come into one of my booths once and say, oh, you should do some more color. These would be so much prettier if these had color. A lot of people look at my work and they think it's Zentangle. It is not Zentangle. It's not an adult coloring book. I've had a lot of little old ladies come in and say, could I color this? And I'm like, you could color it. You buy it, you can color it any color you want. But I've tried doing the color and it just doesn't work.
Okay.
The closest I've come to using color is I did a couple of pieces, I did a series of pieces called Pen Sketch. Pen Sketch 1, Pen Sketch 2, Pen Sketch Blue. And it's black, purple, and blue ballpoint pens. Just sketching. I think I was at the Children's Museum with my kids, sitting on a bench with my leg up in my pad, just drawing, sketching goofy looking shapes. And those are colorful. Like, it's blue ink, so it's blue. But adding color to the black and white has never.
Okay, so once you're done with your pictures, what do you do with them? How do you show them?
As soon as I'm done with a piece and I'm happy with it, there's been some that I just don't like and they stay in the sketch pad and in the drawing pad. But once I like it, I get my wife's opinion. She's a real good sounding board for what works, what doesn't. Sometimes I will not like the way something is looking and the whole piece is ruined and it's 10, 12 hours down the drain, and she says, no, it's good, and this is different from what you've done before and you should go with it, and I take her advice and I'm happy with that. So once the piece is done and it passes the wife test, I used to take it to an art reproduction place in Orland Park. Really nice people, really understanding of artists, starving artists, but the prices are a little steep. So actually what I found as that starving artist, I found the most economical way. So Staples actually will scan a piece for like $2 on a high definition digital scanner and give you a print that you can still see the marker lines and the pen indentations. It's that good of a quality, and it's $2, and they'll give you a digital copy. Then taking the digital copy, I'll order print reproductions that I bag and board at my booth, because most people who come to art fairs don't buy originals, but they like your work. So I make 5x7s, 8x10s, 12x16s of the various pieces, so they can kind of flip through. But I've found that to be the most economical way to sell my art. Is
Okay, do you have a website that you do this on? Or?
I do. It's meditationsinink.com. When I do an art show, my business, my line of artwork is Meditations in Ink, because it is my meditation. It's my escape. I sit down at my kitchen table. I don't have a fancy art studio. I clear off the kitchen table. I kick the kids out of the room, and I put my stuff out and I just draw. And I escape, and I block everything out. I'm in the zone, so to speak, and that's my meditation. But what I kind of hope to do with the picture, with all the different line work and designs, I hope that somebody looking at it can also maybe lose themselves for a minute or two and just be alone with their thoughts as they connect with the piece. So it's kind of like a two-way street I'm trying to do there.
Is this the first time that you juried?
No, I prefer the jury process, because that's one way you know that they're selective. They don't just take anyone who's willing to pay the booth fee. I prefer a juried art show, because then they're looking, they're conscientious of not putting too many of the same thing. They want an eclectic variety. I don't pretend or paint myself, because I'm not a painter. I don't paint myself as the best artist out there, but I have noticed that my stuff is different, which I like. I don't know if it's better or worse, but it's different. And for that reason, I prefer the jury shows, because I want them to put me with other artists that aren't the same thing, but are artists versus artisans doing crafts. So I prefer the jury art shows myself.
So let's go back to when you were in high school. You said that's when you kind of started drawing. What piqued your interest about drawing? Did you try different, did you try painting versus drawing versus woodworking or something of that nature?
I tried a number of different things in high school. I tried ceramics. I didn't have the finesse or the patience for it, and it was very messy. I don't like messes. I did a commercial art class that kind of touched in all the things, had some fun with stained glass, but nothing really made me think about doing it again. I will be at work when I was in high school at my job, and I would think about something I wanted to draw. When I would be in school trying to focus, I would draw in order to focus. So drawing is kind of my fidget.
I see.
I am convinced I'm on the autism scale somewhere, because I have a lot of the qualities, and one of them is when now I'm 50 years old. I work downtown in a corporate office, and we have lots of meetings and lots of Zooms and lots of seminars, and I find that with my head down drawing, I capture every word that's said, I pick up everything that's being taught and shared, whereas if I hands to my side, making eye contact with the person who's talking, I'm more focused on maintaining that eye contact, and I don't remember half of the things they said. So I've always been drawn to drawing this weird stuff. So.
Did you take classes to learn to draw, or are you just pretty much self-taught?
Self-taught. The stuff I took a lot of art classes in high school, after high school, Park District type courses, as well as some college courses, and I learned concepts of art. I learned about composition. I learned about negative space, positive space, but none of the things I learned are things I really enjoyed. I didn't enjoy painting, watercolors, acrylics. I don't like painting. I don't like pencil work. It's just, I don't know. I just like black and white. And I don't see things, I see things in shades of gray, but I draw in black and white.
So as far as your inspirations for your works, do they just ever occur to you during the middle of the day and you stop and you kind of make a note to yourself, or a quick sketch, or?
A couple different ways. My biggest influence is probably M.C. Escher, especially his black and white stuff. I think he birthed the Zentangle idea. I think that came directly out of his type of designs, his mural work. But also from that, I think the straight black and white, the designs, just lines that mean absolutely nothing but becoming something. I think that's probably my biggest influence. As far as where I get the inspirations from the individual pieces, it's usually just, I'll see, I was walking down the street, and there was a restaurant, and in the window of the restaurant was this light fixture that was just a giant light bulb. It was just, I mean, it wasn't really a big light bulb. It was a fixture that looked like a giant light bulb. I'm sure inside was a little light bulb. And I saw that, and I had an image of that as a piece of a light bulb with a whole organic forest growing inside the light bulb. So that's something I grabbed a piece of paper and sketched out, and then it's like halfway done in a drawing pad at home. So sometimes that occurs to me. I saw a comic book cover of that featured a woman's body, a shapely hourglass figured type woman's body, but designed like a cello. So it's like she was wearing an outfit that made her look like a cello with the hollow slits and the strings running down the middle. And I liked that idea of taking the contour of a woman's, obviously recognizable as a female shape, and making it something, which is where I got the idea to do that. Off of Escher's mural, I got the idea to do like the kind of compartment type pieces with something different. This was the hardest thing I've ever drawn, by the way. This took about 30 hours and 6 months because each single box is its own piece of something. So that was like planning 9 different pieces in one. Sometimes I'll just be sitting watching TV. I'll be watching Supernatural on Netflix, and I'll have an idea for an alien claw to be coming out of a sphere holding other spheres, and it gets sketched. So sometimes it comes out of nowhere, sometimes it's based on some strong visual that I've seen.
Some artists say, that I've talked to, that they keep a notebook by their bed so that if they have an idea in their thoughts while they're sleeping, they wake up and sketch it. Does that ever happen with you?
I've never woken up with an idea or been woken up by an idea. I've woken up with an idea and I search for a piece of paper. I don't have a notebook per se that I carry around because I don't carry anything with me. If it doesn't fit in my pocket, I don't carry it with me. But yeah, when something hits me, I have to find a piece of paper. I've sometimes emailed myself a description of the concept because I don't have the image yet. I just know I want to do something with the silhouette of a hand grabbing a dragon or something. But yeah, I have to write it down because I'll forget it.
Right.
You know, I haven't created it yet. I know that the potential to create doesn't go away, but the concept can get forgotten. So that I'll sketch out or write down a descriptive of. And I can come back to it a year later and know exactly what I was thinking and do it.
Do you work on several different pieces at a time, or do you stay with one piece until it's completely finished?
I sometimes work on pieces simultaneously just because you get burnt out. This one, I did over several months as well, but in between, I finished her. Because I was about 80% done with her when I started this one. And there's another piece in another pad, it's a smaller pad, that I actually take with me to art shows. And during the lulls at art fairs, I'm sitting at the table and I'm drawing. And which is kind of cool. I did it to pass time,
right?
Which is kind of cool because people stop in my booth and they go and they see me and they see the pieces up and they go, wait a minute, this is hand drawn? And it kind of blows me away that, well, how else would it have been produced? But that's kind of cool that people are fascinated. When people are fascinated by something you do, I think that's the best compliment you can receive. So when they're fascinated that this is hand drawn, or that I drew in each and every one of those lines, that makes me feel good about what I'm doing and tells me I'm on the right track.
Well, Martin, we appreciate taking your time with us this morning, and we look forward to seeing you at the art show on the 16th and 17th. Your pieces are really unique. I can't say that I've really ever seen anything like that anywhere. And after sitting here this morning, I keep being drawn back to that guitar. So I see what you mean about looking at it and seeing something different. It's really a unique take on art that you have. So thank you so much, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.